What's going on? Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. What's going on? What is going on? Okay, so we are going to discuss Microsoft. That's right. That's right. Good old Microsoft is going to be our topic of discussion this evening. However, what I'm also going to talk about is the fact that I'm considering. Can you guys hear me go? The fact that I'm considering. I've been hearing good things about Linux again, and I'm considering, because for a long time the problem was that you couldn't take Linux seriously as a gamer. So apparently it's been updated. So I sort of hope that it's a lot better, but I just feel like there's gonna be some problems. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, like every day that I use Windows, I just feel like it's it's just bad. So, let's talk about a couple things. I've always had issues with connectivity as far as Bluetooth with Microsoft controllers. Forever. I have always had this issue with Microsoft controllers. However, I can only speak from experience with Windows. And I will say that this is better than this. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is better than this. By a lot. This, to the untrained eye, is the same as this. It isn't. It is not. This is an infinitely superior product. This was pushed out and requires frickin' updating. Frickin' updating. Why does my controller need updated? Piece of junk. Again, another Microsoft product that just needs endless updates. This was a superior product. So what's the difference? What am I saying here? This was the previous model for the Xbox One. This was the new one for the series when it came out. This was the new line of control. And the software is freaking garbage. This was always phenomenal. It doesn't need updating. It just works. I'll be honest. Feeling my hands, I feel like I might like it a little better too. As far as feeling my hands, I might actually even like it a little better too. And it's got nothing to do with the grips, because this has grips too. Okay? I'm not talking... It's about the size. I think they actually, like, it feels too compact. So if you have large hands, you're kind of screwed. It's just a huge oversight to make this back part feel smaller, and like your fingers are squished together. And on the other one, it was just like I'm actually grabbing the sides, like a controller should feel. So, again, this is superior to this. It was a superior line of controllers. Not a huge difference in them. Obviously, slight port difference. But, tight micro versus C. But you also have the slight directional pad change. I mean, yeah, okay, fine. I like the way you... I like this because, again, you can roll this one easier. But, that, like, again, this was still a better controller. So, I just... I don't understand why we had to drastically alter something that was fine. And if you're going to improve upon it, like going from the PlayStation 4 controller to the PlayStation 5 controller. Like the improvement is there. It is. Like the PS4 controller wasn't bad, but it needed some improvements. Then the PS5 controller, so much better. This was not an improvement, and Microsoft continued to model this. Sorry, I just saw your. I switched to Linux, and I must say, Proton has come a long way. Valve has really made Linux gaming viable. Finally, most games run well out of the box. Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm hearing. And that's good to hear that. I appreciate the feedback on that. That's what I'm hearing too, and from pretty reliable sources. So again, I'm also hearing that there's a significant amount of issues still, but not that those issues are OS breaking, if that makes sense. So, there's always going to be, because, there is this push for this. Yeah. It's a, superior product to the other one. So, Anyway, I might have to consider that switch. So here's what I wanted to do. So I asked Gemini, is Linux more user friendly lately? And Gemini has said, yes, Linux has become significantly more user friendly in recent years, making it a viable alternative for average desktop users rather than just developers or IT professionals. And this was always the issue, was that, the user interface was a bit tough. And then there was always some problems, obviously huge. It wasn't built for games necessarily. So, again, I'm pretty sure there's been huge upgrades to that. Advancements in distributions, it does say that. Okay, weird phrasing. Advancements in distributions, gaming compatibility, and hardware support have greatly reduced the need to use the command line terminal for daily tasks. Here's why Linux is considered more user-friendly lately. Polished user interfaces. That's what I like to hear right up front. Desktops. Modern desktops environments like GNOME and KDE Plasma provide a polished Institute interface comparable to Windows or Mac OS. Okay. Easy installations and updates. Distribution... Why is it saying it like that? Distributions like Linux Mint. I don't even know what the hell that one is. And Pop OS offer similar. Simple graphical installers. There was one I skipped because I couldn't read it. Sorry, that I skipped one. I said I don't know what it is. I skipped it. Graphical installers, often making them easier to install than Windows. Here, I think it's Ubuntu. I've never heard of that. What? Oh, it's just a free. Oh, it's an open source version. See, I didn't even realize that. Okay. Okay. That's funny. Okay. So yeah, that's cool. I guess that's how you say that, and that's an open source version. This it's saying it's often making them easier than Windows. App Store's package managers allow users to find and install software with a single click, eliminating the need to search for software online. Yeah, I didn't even hear about Ubuntu. I guess is sort of how you said it. I have no idea. I've never even heard of that one. I knew about Linux Mint, and I've heard of Pop! OS. I did not hear about that. No why. Is it new? No idea. But yeah, that one's open source. So that's pretty cool. That one might even be the better option for all I know. I had no idea. But anyway, yeah, game improvements. Here it's mentioning Proton, like you said. Valve's Proton compatibility layer has revolutionized gaming, allowing most Windows games to work on Linux without complex configuration. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hardware support, out-of-the-box support for hardware has improved drastically with less hassle over Wi-Fi drivers, printers, or Bluetooth devices compared to years past. Well, that sort of answers our question, right? Basically, that was what I was saying was this stuff always works fine plug and play, for the most part, but you can't even I have always, even with like a stable Bluetooth third party like USB thing or something like that, I have always had disconnection issues. Just randomly disconnect on you, or have problems, just not work right, just literally flat out not work right, and then like not at all have these problems, when using, plug and play, when using complete like cable connection. So just always had that issue with Windows. And likewise noticed it with not necessarily Microsoft devices, Windows devices connecting to Windows. Because I never had this stuff. I mean, it doesn't have problems with Xbox. Never has. Yeah, literally never. Never. I have never once had that issue with Xbox. Ever. It is literally Windows. So, that's good to hear. And I think that's just, again, laziness. When they reproduce an operating system, they literally don't fix anything. They just copy and paste and don't have a reason for coming out with a new one. They're just like, oh, well, time for a new one. We got to such a point with 8.1 that it was fine, and then they were like, screw it. We need to ruin it. We need to ruin everybody's day again. And 10 was finally getting there, as it usually goes lately. Because ever since, 7 was the last good one. Good one. That was the last good one. That's it. 7. Because again, 8 was not good. 8.1, wasn't bad. I thought that was pretty good, actually. But, literally just, they pumped out 10 so fast, and it was just crap. Get ready to test Linux to see if you have a spare laptop that is not really needed for anything. The distro of your choice on it and test it out. See if it's something you like, or try others if it's not. People really use this term like this. I've never that's interesting. Yeah, I've just always called them open source OS. But I guess that's, whatever. I guess it's not really always the case, though, is it? I suppose it's not really always the case, so Doesn't fit. Um, so it does say beginners are often recommended to try Linux Mint. Um, that other one, Ubuntu, or Zorin OS. I feel like I have heard of that one too. That sounds familiar. I've probably seen that one. Which are designed to behave similarly to Windows. That's what I thought before even reading that. I thought that I had seen a video comparing it to Windows. So, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. I don't know. Like, again, if Linux, especially with the distros, with these anyway, if it's solid for running games, then fine. But it's gotta be viable. Um, you know. Now, I mean, it probably is. It probably is. Windows literally uses in just too much. It uses an unnecessary amount of resources. Like sincerely, it uses a completely unnecessary amount of resources pretty much all the time. Pretty much all the time. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is like, yeah, there's obviously some closed source, but that's kind of why I guess I always did that is because of what you just said. Is most of the ones you're gonna use are the open source ones anyway. So, um, again, I feel like this has just been an issue from with like internally where just too long the people are not listening to what the users are actually saying. You know what I mean? Like, if the users are saying, like all these people are just saying it's crap, it's crap, it's crap, it's crap. How long does it take for you to recognize that it's crap? That's what I feel like. Um, but there. The point is that like there's a lot of people online actually talking about this. Like literally talking about like switching to Linux. Linux. Like a lot of people are confirming Linux is harder to use for sure, but you know, if they just try one of these other user interfaces, so that it's a matter of getting that obviously. Um, that was definitely my experience with it. The brief time that I used Linux was frustration with simple things that I was at the time able to do on Windows better, but also recognized, the stability of it, performance of it, immediately. Yeah, you notice instant things. You notice things like that was always the thing was before solid state and stuff like that. Linux itself, would sort of do things where it would perform instantaneously versus Windows that takes forever to do anything. So it was sort of kind of like glaring to anybody that used it that it was infinitely better for all those years, but for sure the user interface is the normal person's not going to. It was always such a pain. Um, you have to find everything. Remember where it is. There's a bajillion uh, things to do. To do one thing sometimes. So obviously this what you're talking about, the distros and stuff, that's obviously the solution, but the problem is I feel like that's still, you gotta understand, most people, you'll be lucky if they know where the power button is. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I feel like, if I could count the number of times where somebody that I knew, not that the person's, I'm not trying to make fun of the person's intelligence or anything like that. Don't think that. This is how unuser friendly this stuff is. Somebody comes to me about something that, they don't understand how they messed up. Like the lights, like they made the lights on their keyboard or something like that disappear, and they're not even really sure how to get it back. And believe it or not, you would be surprised how common that is. It's not something like this is a one per. No, this is a lot of people don't. Seriously, it's pretty common. And it's really just, honestly, they truthfully don't understand that the FN key means function, and that there's all these other buttons on their keyboard that they have to look for the symbol that laptop decided means that's your LEDs or whatever, like whatever symbol they assign, put on there for that. And so you have to either, like a lot of times, either press or hold it, and and figure out what it is. And you'll be turning stuff off, on. There's all kinds of buttons where if you hit something by accident, like some people disable their Wi-Fi, not understanding there's actually a button for that on the keyboard on their laptop. A lot of times they'll literally hit a function key and hit the disable the Wi-Fi, and literally they just have no clue why their whole laptop, the internet, doesn't work. So you got to understand, when that's the average user, this is just how technology is. People never really got to a point where they were really comfortable with everyday computers. That's what it was thought when we were in school. But I tried to explain to people, like, unless you increase the level of understanding the teachers have and are willing to pass on, this is not translating. Because even a lot of times the teachers didn't, you know what I mean? It's not like they're really teaching very technically based things. So, the most computer classes that you have is like, most people would be requirement to learn how to type or something like that. And you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like, oh, well, do you do a research paper or something like that? You use the computer, but again, typing, So it just, no, the education didn't get put in there anywhere. So anyway, the point is, if you don't have Linux launch some sort of choosable option, like do you want this version, this version, this version, or this version, right when you install it, this is not user friendly enough. You have to have, it's got to be like you install Linux, here are your options. Choose from one of the 3 or 4, how do you want it to look? Do you want it to look more like Windows? Do you want it to look more like this? Maybe if you want to avoid using the Windows term, you could just say, would you like it to look more like this, and then have an example of the UI when you hover over it, or whatever you want to do. I'm just saying, I think you've got to figure that out. It can't be separated too much. That was a problem I had was installing Linux on a laptop, Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi stopped working because the drivers for it failed to install. My PC, though, it worked. Yeah. I mean, classic, So, it's just a matter of getting that to the point again where it's user friendly enough that more people feel like, again, they can, because again, most people can barely use Windows. I So it does seem, again, that it is saying that it is more user friendly lately, and that's good. I'm wondering again. About just where, like, how far the hardware support goes. That's all. It does say hardware issues, specialized hardware or very new components may still have limited support with peripherals like some gaming wheels or high-end sound cards, sometimes requiring technical skills. So I am a little bit concerned there, obviously. It's just, you gotta, that stuff, in my opinion, if I'm hearing that, it's like, so I'm probably gonna run into some problems, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what I'm dealing with Windows. So, I don't know. I just feel like, I feel like for minimal use, right now, to get used to it, Linux is actually a lot more passable. You could probably play, like, some light games and stuff like that. So yeah, like, it's probably good for your laptop or your side computer or whatever you're running, on the side. But it's probably not, again, quite to the point where I'd say make the switch. At least that's how I feel. I don't think it's quite... Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel anyway. I don't know how other people feel about that, to be honest, but that's how... Where it's not... It's so close, but, like, again, I want to see more of this, these distributables that we've been talking about, distributions that we've been talking about, that should be, right there on the user interface when we install it. Like, pick this version, do you want it to look more like this, or this, and so I just, I think that would fix a lot of that for most people, and then they can work on the rest. At least user friendly, so that way, as people use it, they can deduce that they're not necessarily doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? Because then it's easier to figure out, if the person, because otherwise you're just gonna get mass reports from people that stuff's wrong, and it's gonna be hard to figure it out. I would get that to a user friendly point, so that it is sort of kind of like idiot proof, so to speak. My experience has been stellar. It runs better than Windows in most cases. I have had no problems running any of the games I play. Yeah, and I believe you. But again, I have to say it again. I think it's gonna depend on your hardware. It's for sure gonna depend on your hardware, because it hasn't been that long. So unless you can sit here and try it on everything that runs Windows, you can't say that. So until that starts to happen and we have that evidence to say, I can't say that. I can only say, with caution, I think you could probably get away. Like, that's why I said playing some games, like, and as a secondary, I just think that you might, like, in that case where those sometimes things are happening, it is citing things where it's saying this, where people might have issues. I just think that you need to be a little bit more cautious and say, look, don't necessarily, like, you could if you want to, and Linux needs people to make the switch. So be willing to do it and try it if you're willing to. Don't hesitate if you're willing to try new things. I'm just saying, if you're on the fence about it, and you're used to Windows, Windows is pretty bad. It is. But there's a possibility. Like I said, the only thing I'm saying here is that there's just, you make the switch, there is a possibility you have that issue. That's all I'm trying to say, because that is a fact that some are having those issues with those higher end components, the hardware and stuff like that. And gamers use that. Gamers they expect those high end components to work. So that's why I said secondary or laptop or whatever. But I appreciate the fact that you're saying that your experience was stellar, and that like, what could you give us an example of a specific game that runs for you really well? Again, part of it is having enough data to compare. It works very well with this Intel, AMD, then likewise, NVIDIA and AMD, all that stuff. Gotta have that data. So, it's good that people are making the switch. I'm just saying, I want to see, like I said, that willingness to put some sort of choice in there to make that a little bit more user friendly, so that way people, there is no question as they're complaining and stuff like that, how you can figure out whether or not the person messed up or whether to you'll have that. It'll just be easier. I'm just saying. But it would still be good data and stuff to hear what game you're talking about too. And I've seen reports of a bunch of different games running drastically better, but again, this is an example of us getting this from, you know, how many different sources and setups. You know, I mean, sure, an expert can. So I just, if a Joe Schmo, average Joe Schmo, gets on and still gets those same results, just installing it, just making okay. And you sound like you know what you're talking about, to be honest with you. So. The funniest example is running Halo Master Chief Collection in co-op multiplayer with a Windows user out of the box with no issues. I expected to run into trouble because it's a Microsoft game. That is pretty impressive. I get pretty good results out of Master Chief Collection on Windows too, though. I think I want to see. I want to see. I want to see Starfield. I want to see how that runs. I want to see that. That was a complete disaster. And I want to see if it was Windows or the game. I have a feeling I know what the answer is. I have a feeling. Now, again, there's some other glaring problems, like there's a lot of other reasons I didn't like that. Obviously, we talked about the menu and just how, oh boy, the overall direction. But regardless, I'm just saying, optimization and graphics are actually kind of just, they're at this point. And like they're not bad, but like the point is they were supposed to be amazing, and they started off pretty bad. Like it was bad optimization. So I want to see how well Starfield runs on Linux. That's what I want to see. Yeah. So Linux needs to have, like you're saying, the distros, but just have a selectable install as you install Linux. This one. You know, almost like they're like little boxes or something like that. You know, and maybe you click on them or hover over them and get a description, an explanation. This one's more like this, and yada yada yada. Sure, maybe one's more geared towards gamers or something. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying because I don't really use Linux that much, so I don't know much about these distros. But you know, it sounds like Linux Mint or this Ubuntu is what you want. But I don't actually know. You're saying Proton's really amazing. I don't know what the magic it's doing, but it just works. Yeah, so that's great. That's great to hear. And it's good to hear that Linux is doing better. I'm just saying you gotta understand, people aren't gonna have any clue, you know. They're gonna be like, "Where's the start menu?" I swear to God, that's you know that's what people are gonna do. They're gonna be like, "There's no start menu." Then they're gonna be like they're gonna be like double clicking things. Do you double click in Linux? I don't even remember. This is what you have to consider. Like, isn't Mac OS single click, right? See, I wouldn't even know to today's standards. It's been a while, but like this is what we're talking about. Where like it's not the same OS. There's gonna be a lot of differences. Is that necessarily gonna do that? You know, or be like that? You know, you right click here. It's not gonna have all the same stuff. You know, or whatever. You know. That's the point. The where you go for stuff is different. How you do stuff, you know. So you'll run into that. That's all I'm saying. And so like even when user like expert users and user friendly, like people that are just good with stuff like that are even kind of saying, yeah, you know, maybe still a little bit more work. I think I agree with that, but you know, I'm not saying I think it's good that lots of people are giving it a shot. So stuff on YouTube is saying that Linux Mint is the most user friendly version. That's what stuff on YouTube is saying. That was as of some of this is as of 2 months ago. So, um, yeah. So I'm just looking at an article here. There is an article here, it's sort of agreeing with me actually that I just found, saying it's sort of still at the point that I just suggested where it needs just a little bit more work on the user friendly side of things. Ah. It's good shit. Excuse me. Yeah. I like Linux. I like it. And it's exactly the reason people are saying. I've always known that it's best for pretty much everything. It's just not user friendly. That's all. Cause you know, I mean, like a lot of stuff you don't realize. A lot of electronics already are running Linux. You just don't realize it. There's like a, you know, sort of like an open source OS like you're describing over top of it. So I guess that's probably what the distro means. That's probably what that means. I didn't even realize that. That's probably what that is, and that's probably why there's so many. So hence open source versus closed source, and then that's why, you know, with the closed source ones, you know, that's why I think, you know, because I always heard about, you know, like again it's you know, certain electronics, they're just gonna have their own thing, you know. But anyway. If If we're improving it by considerable amounts, then that's insane. Oh yeah. Oh no, for sure. Anybody that's gonna be, yeah, any developer or anything like that, it doesn't matter whether they work for Microsoft or not. Yeah, for sure they're gonna use Linux. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's pretty much always been the case too, I think. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's you know, if you're doing coding, that's what you're doing. You're doing it on Linux. Like that's the point. Yeah, I think that I'm just looking at like like Linux websites and stuff like that. Yeah, I think Manjaro. That's apparently one too. Manjaro. Solus. That's one. Fedora. I want that one. Fedora. Elementary OS. I think I've heard of. I think I've heard of OpenSUSE, but I'm not sure. I think that's how. I think that's that one, OpenSUSE. I'm not. I think I've heard of that though. I like Fedora. Fedora. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Unix in general was always the superior, building block, than anything else, I think. There it is, opensuzy.org. So that's one too. opensuzy.org. Free to use, no strings attached. OpenSUSY makes open source Linux operating systems for desktops, servers, and containers. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's probably where I'd go. I would probably try there. Yeah, honestly, the UI for this is very similar. It looks kind of user friendly, to be honest with you. So there you go. It says Tumbleweed. So there's two versions here. There's one called Tumbleweed, and there's one called Leap. All right. So for Tumbleweed, okay, gamers are going here, I think. All right. So if you're a gamer, you want to go to Tumbleweed, okay? So go to if you're on opensuzy.org, you go to desktop OS, and then you'll see a couple of options. You'll see one that says Tumbleweed, and you'll see one that says Leap. Tumbleweed is the one I think you're gonna want if you're trying it for gamers. If you're a gamer and you want to try it out, I think that's the one you're gonna want. So I'm just letting you know. Again, that's opensuzy.org. Go to desktop OS at the top, and it's the one on the left that says Tumbleweed. That's going to be the one that you're going to want, I think, if you're a gamer. So that's that one. Oh, wow. Here you go. LinuxFromScratch.org. Linux from Scratch LFS is a project that provides you with step-by-step instructions for building your own custom Linux system entirely from source code. Well, there you go. There you go. Start working. There you go, man. Okay. Well, this is pretty interesting. Be nice to see what it looks like. So I found this site that says Debian.org. Apparently, this is a completely free operating system. It's just called Debian. Debian.org. It'd be nice to see what it looks like. They don't show like anything on the main page, what the OS looks like or anything. But it's completely free apparently. So there's something too. I didn't even. So there's something. I don't know that it's for gamers or anything, but just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Apparently it's completely and .org. I mean. So, totally free. So, just saying. Okay, here it is. Fedora Linux. FedoraProject.org. There it is, Fedora. Get Fedora. Oh, actually, this looks pretty good. Holy cow. This is very Windows looking. Let me just make sure. Okay, so okay, so this one's really good too. Fedora is really good. I think you're gonna want. All right, so go at the top, go to fedoraproject.org. Go to the top. It says get Fedora. I think you're either now again. You can try the one that says Workstation if you want, but I think you're gonna want KDE Plasma. I think is what probably most people are gonna want. This is for gamers. This is everything. This has all of it. This is like the most Windows of all of them. It looks exactly like Windows. It has a bottom bar with a thing all the way on the left. It has the thing on the right that shows everything that's running on the right, like a system tray. It has a clock on the bottom right. It has a desktop that you can customize. Literally, it looks a lot like. So yeah, there you go. You can just go ahead and download that right now. That is Fedora. And again, you get there by going to fedoraproject.org. Go to Get Fedora and click on the one in the top middle that says KDE Plasma. And then that'll take you to a page and you'll see a little button that says documentation or download now. Obviously, you're going to want to click download now. So there you go. There you go. Completely free for gamers. This is actually really freaking cool, man. This is kind of getting me excited a little bit. Holy crap. This is cool. So there you go, guys. That's actually pretty impressive. I didn't realize they were at this point. It supports HDR and everything. I honestly did not realize they were at this point. Supports HDR and everything. I really had no idea. I had no idea. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Go try it out. Right there it is. FedoraProject.org. Click at the top. Get Fedora. Or just FedoraProject.org/KDE/. Or that. But FedoraProject.org, get Fedora, and then KDE Plasma. KDE Plasma. So let's read through the why Fedora KDE Plasma. We'll read that quick. Reliable. Each version is updated for approximately 13 months, and upgrades between versions are quick and easy. Sounds great. Customizable. Fedora KDE Plasma Desktop lets you customize your desktop to your needs and workflows instead of the other way around. Leading technology. Built on the latest technologies and enhancements that open source has to offer. Oh my god. Free and private. With Fedora, your desktop is your own. It's free. There are no ads. Your data belongs to you. This is sounding too good to be true. Holy crap. Trusted. Developed in partnership with upstream projects, rigorously tested. Makes the most of your device. Fedora works with your hardware vendors to make excellent hardware support across a range of devices. Oh, you mean that thing Microsoft's not doing that they could do? You mean that thing that they haven't been doing for years now? That's the one thing they're not doing. Oh. Yeah, I think Fedora KDE Plasma might be the best one, folks. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. But I feel like it might be. Wow. Even the site's nice. No, I have confidence in this. I think you guys, I think Fedora KDE Plasma is the way to go. I think you should trust that one. Try that one. Wow. Available with Fedora KDE are industry favorite applications like Krita, a professional digital painting program, Kdenlive, a robust nonlinear video editor. These open source tools empower creators to bring their visions to life, whether working on digital art, animation, or video production. Combined with Fedora's commitment to open innovation, this makes Fedora KDE a perfect platform for creative professionals and enthusiasts alike. This sounded pretty damn good, man. It sounded pretty freaking good. Holy crap. What the heck? For scientists, yeah, Fedora's frequent updates and focus on upstream first development ensure that scientists always have access to latest versions of critical tools like Python, R, Julia, LaTeX, and libraries for machine. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh yeah, machine learning data visualization, and high-performance computing. Fedora also includes KDE apps like LabPilot, Cancer, Kyle, K-Stars, supporting research and analysis across disciplines. With up-to-date software and secure infrastructure, it empowers scientists to focus on discovery. Oh, 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 oh. For gamers. With KDE Plasma's lightweight yet visually polished environment, it maximizes your system's resources, giving gamers a snappy, responsive experience, particularly valuable in both high-end rigs and older hardware. Fedora KDE offers fresher drivers, kernel updates, and gaming libraries. This is especially critical for gaming on Linux, where performance gains from the latest Mesa drivers, Proton improvements, and Vulkan support can be game-changing. I am glad to hear that Vulkan support is in. I'm glad to hear that. I obviously appreciate, you know, what you're talking about with the Proton and stuff like that too, but I just. You know, there's nothing like it. There really is nothing like Vulkan. So you know, offering that, you know, to as in that paragraph, that's helpful to me. You know, like that's how I like that. You know, that shows that they know what a lot of the gamers are looking for. You know, to even say that too. I don't know. I just this is sounding pretty good, man. Wow. This seems like a really cool project. This is really cool. This is so cool. This is so cool. I don't know, man. I kind of want to just say F Windows and get this. Holy crap. Can I just say F Windows and and switch to Fedora? That's awesome. I think it has like, you know, sort of like Windows comes with Windows Media Player. I think it has built-in media players and stuff like that too. You can customize your desktop with widgets like a calculator, clock, calendar, and keep track of time, clipboard manager, dictionary, weather report, application launcher, and more. There's a lot in here, man. I think Fedora. That's what I think. I think Fedora is holy shit. I think Fedora's holy shit. So, there you go. Again, that's fedoraproject.org. And then you go to the top where it says Get Fedora, and then you click on that top middle one there that shows up under the Editions tab. It says KDE Plasma. That's what we're talking about. That's that one. You want to click that and then download from the button on that page. That's man. That's enlightening. Yes, Fedora is widely considered an excellent, robust, and modern Linux distribution, ideal for developers, professionals, and enthusiasts who want cutting-edge software without sacrificing stability. Yeah, there for sure. It's agreeing that it's considered an excellent, robust, modern Linux distribution. That's awesome. Okay, yeah, multimedia codecs, good. It says it has that. That was what I was wondering. Can it play a bunch of different video file types and stuff? Apparently it can. Multimedia codecs. That's great. Honestly, like it's looking like a solid operating system. I honestly, I don't know, man. I would be very, very inclined to give it a shot, you guys. I really would. I would really be inclined to give this a shot. Well, I'm glad that I discovered this. I'm gonna have to think about this myself. And then maybe we'll talk about it, obviously, but I really am I will consider that. If it really is that much better, because Windows, honestly, like, I just don't deal with this shit anymore. I really don't. It is so terrible. It is just terrible. Wow. Yeah. Might have to give that a shot. I don't know. But anyway, I guess that's all I wanted to talk about with that. Yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to talk about with that one. With Linux. Oh my god, oh my god. YouTube, what are you doing? Guys, we've had all these people watching. We're an hour and a half in, and YouTube is counting 16 views on this entire stream. 16 views. That's it. That's what they're counting. Kind of like on that, the driving game we were playing. They sat here and removed over just all these views, and then again, that was, remember, again, one of the streams they sat there not processing for a while, and then after they processed it, just a huge chunk of views comes off. They halt the view progress before processing it, and then they process it. They take forever. They're like, oh, we'll get to this within 24 hours. They don't even process it. And then they do, and then remove an entire huge chunk of views. Just all these views, just chunk, just gone. Literally, like there was like 70. When they halted the view progress, there was 77 views. Supposedly, we know there's more viewers than that, but you know, it doesn't matter how many hundreds or thousands are on that view counter. They're gonna remove it, and you know, they halt that view progress. They halted it at 77, and then it just sat there for, you know, the time it sat there, and then they just randomly removed a huge chunk of views, and now it's at like 20 something. It's just sitting there at 20 something, not getting any views because, you know, they did that. It's literally, what this platform has been doing, you know, again, to my channel, and I've seen this with other people. It's not just me, but, you know, like, again, they hope that people don't notice. They hope that people aren't paying attention and adding it up and doing the math, and that's why they kept breaking the concurrent counter I had, freezing it for a while because they couldn't keep up with how many views I was getting. They were trying to scam it. I mean, it's absurd. They've been scamming this shit for a while. Absurd. Well, anyway. Alright, guys. I was thinking about whether there was something else I wanted to throw in there. But I think I'm good. I think I got to everything I wanted to tell you. Oh look, we had 5 concurrents, so we had 5 likes, and then we just took it down to 4. Oh, the person that had a like on the stream to have a 5th like, to have it on there just to remove it, took it off. Oh man, big surprise. Oh, we have the same stalking weird person in the stream doing that. Big surprise. Wow. Confetti. 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 Laugh emoji, confetti. Laugh emoji, confetti. Haha. Yeah. 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 I'll just never see what it looks like. I just never see what it is. Oh my god. It's so funny. It's so dim too. Yeah, I love how crazy digital is. Hold on. Watch this. Oh, no, that doesn't do it either. Hold on, maybe this will. Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. There we go. There we go. Now you can see it. There you go. Yep. There you go. Now you can actually see it. It was like, it's not even that bright. Like, it's literally on like the dimmest. It probably looks even brighter to you guys. It's not. Like, it doesn't even look like it's illuminated. It literally just looks like, I can't even describe it. It's so dim, it's not even funny. This is funny. It happens, I guess. So yeah, anyway, I guess, like I said, I guess that's it, guys. I don't really have anything else for you. By the way, this was the Starfield controller. By the way, this was the Starfield controller, and this was the Cyberpunk controller. This is actually the Cyberpunk controller. This one. Oh, this will make it obvious. This is because this is a charger. So, yeah, you just put it on there like that. But yeah, it's the Cyberpunk 2077. Controller. It's actually nice. So yeah, and then that was the Starfield edition controller. Okay, but anyway, yeah, I guess, like I said, I guess that's it, because I don't really have anything else for you. Alright, guys. Well, I appreciate you watching, and again, I really do recommend Fedora, even just reading through that stuff there from, you know, one nerd to another, somebody that's always done this stuff, and, you know, doesn't, yeah, reading through that, I you know, recognize all that stuff, and for sure would recommend, absolutely, after reading through that, absolutely would recommend Fedora. I did not realize it had all that, so Yeah. Now I do. Now I am saying, and I am agreeing that it probably is time to give it a shot. But doing so with one of these user-friendly ones, and I'd recommend Fedora. The KDE Plasma for gamers. So anyway, thanks guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you.